Welcome back. Minister of Home Affairs Schreiber has announced a new visa for individuals who work in another country but want to reside in South Africa. Following collaborations with the South African Revenue Service, Home Affairs will issue a remote visa in the hopes that these digital nomads will spend their foreign currency in the South African economy. The founder and CEO of digital skills education platform Zaio, Mvelo Hlophe, joins us to explore on the potential of this impact. Mvelo now joins us via our video link. Mvelo, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Now, we've seen that announcement coming out from the Home Affairs Minister on digital nomads and those, living in South Africa but working abroad via remote working. What are your thoughts on this remote visa that has been announced?
So, one of the things that how the government really views it is that it's progressive. So it's an opportunity for South Africa to really add to the revenue that's being generated in the country, so that it adds to the GDP and help to stimulate the economy. So one of the concerns really that a lot of people then have is, what does that mean for us local people that live in South Africa? What does it mean for the areas that people live? So some of the things that have come up is that sometimes, when you bring these people who are earning obviously a lot more money than the people here locally, there tends to be a displacement of that talent. So, for example, in city centers like Cape Town and Johannesburg, we've seen already where rent prices have increased because we've had people come in from outside of South Africa who can afford to pay a lot higher rent, which has then increased rents in those areas, which means that a lot of the people in the local areas have then had to move a lot further from work. So there are drawbacks that come with this new initiative. But, as the government is looking at it, they are looking to stimulate the economy with this introduction.
And perhaps as you raised some of the concerns around digital nomads, at the same time, one can say that South Africa also does get to benefit, especially the economy of South Africa.
Yes, of course. So with people earning, obviously, with a lot more money outside the country, they bring that money here and then they spend it here. So one of the things as well that's stipulated in the remote work visa is that any individual that is in the country for longer than 6 months, that person then also needs to apply to SARS or have to pay then tax, which then obviously increases our tax base as well. So there are some interesting things that, as a result, will help benefit South Africa and its economy at large.
Do you think perhaps then, there should be different, forms of charge for digital nomads, perhaps? You speak about issues around rental and you speak about cost of living for South Africans. Should there be maybe a separate charge for those who are earning in dollars and euros, but are basically living like ordinary South Africans who don't earn as much as they would?
I think when it comes to the tax implications, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done around that specifically. How do we then redistribute or distribute this wealth so that the local individual isn't, their quality of life isn't hampered by individuals earning more money coming into South Africa? The cost of food is really high. We can only see it going higher, the cost of rent, as we've already spoken about. So there should be mechanisms in place that still need to be discussed and implemented to be able to actually level the playing field at the end of the day, so that the local individual is not negatively impacted.
And how can the playing field be leveled, so that South Africans are not really, taken for a ride here? And when it comes to the issues around their way of living and their cost of living is not really affected?
Some studies need to go into how it can be implemented effectively. I think tax really is the best way in which this can be implemented. There aren't really many other ways that this can be done. I think we need to look at how is the quality of life for the everyday person right now? How would the introduction of this remote visa affect these individuals? And then start working from there to form policy and to really look at what have we then set out in this specific policy and how do we actually change it in a way, or work on it further in a way so that the local person is not negatively affected, as we've already started seeing.
And, you know, seeing an increase in digital nomads in South Africa, what does it say about the state of tourism? Because surely most of these people were here on a visit and then they decided, well, let me settle here because I am really working remotely.
I mean, let's be honest, South Africa is a beautiful country. It's relatively cheaper compared to the rest of the world as well. So it isn't difficult for someone to see the benefits of being in South Africa for an extended period of time. So regarding tourism, a lot of people have come to visit South Africa and then seen that it's such a beautiful place. I actually want to start working for my remote job here. So we will see a lot more people coming into the country as these remote working individuals actually come in, because they'll spread the word and say, this is actually how South Africa is. You know, all these misconceptions that we have around South Africa and just Africa generally are actually not true. There's world-class infrastructure, world-class systems as well in place that they are actually already used to in those parts of the world, and are able to then come to this country and actually enjoy those with the rest of the people that actually live here.
And how important is that for any country? I mean, to continue to attract, you know, more tourists, and now through this visa that we have or will have through the Home Affairs Department?
I mean, tourism is a very big revenue generator for any country. A lot of the countries in Africa, it is actually their primary way or their main way in which they generate, you know, just their GDP in their country. So South Africa, quite similarly as well, we have a great dependence on tourism to actually grow and boost our local economies. So with this introduction, we will see more people coming into the country. We'll see people from outside of the country actually advocating for their colleagues, their peers, their families to actually explore South Africa as a destination for their next holiday.
All right, Mvelo, thank you so much for that insight. That is Mvelo Hlophe, or Hlophe rather. He is the founder and CEO of digital skills education platform Zaio. They're talking to us about digital nomads and how, of course, this is affecting the cost of living for many South Africans.